Yay, we're a bit do some great painting. All right, so welcome if this is your first time to join me. I'm Robert Hagan and this is my humble studio. And there we go. So we are going to do a nice beach painting today. And it's a fairly dramatic one. Right? It involves a girl walking down the beach. Can't get anything more pleasant than that, and more sightful than that, and more delightful than that, and more attractive than that, particularly if she's just drifting by herself and lost in her own thoughts. The romantic, the epitome of freedom and romanticism. You can't get better than that, can you? All right, so we paint things that are celebratory. We paint things that are uplifting. We paint things that are gleeful and summery and happy and evoke good thoughts and pleasant thoughts, right? And make us feel relaxed about where we are and who we are. And isn't that what we should paint? Aren't those the scenes that really console us when we're troubled? Aren't those the scenes that we need to be at ourselves mentally when the waters are a bit rough and the rocks are looming? Well, yes, they are. So that's the idea of the painting today. And we know we start with an idea and then we take the idea onto a canvas. We consolidate the idea in some sort of form. We might use photographs, we might go down the beach and take a model, you might take a girlfriend, you might take your sister, or your cousin, or whoever it may be. But you know that scene. So I'm not going to tell you a scene that you're not familiar with. And we're not going to paint a scene that you're unfamiliar with. All right, so there we go. So over here. First up, so every painting, we know how this works. Those of you who followed me know that we start a painting and we do something like this first. We get it up to a stage where everything is reasonably bland. Everything in that painting there is sitting in a value range, the tone of that. If I was to do a black and white photograph of that, it'll be relatively grey. If this was, for example, if number 10, if we break from white to black, right? Now some people reverse this and go, well, black's number 10 and white's number 1. I don't care. As long as we've got a scale of 1 to 10, it can be this way or this way, it doesn't really matter, right? What matters is that we know how to use this and how this is a pictorial display of actually engineering that goes into taking a painting from the start to the end. We manipulate what happens here, right? We juggle these figures so that we advance towards the end in a logical, rational way, right? The same as any relationship, the same as any trip to the shop. You approach every task in a logical, rational way, right? You get in the car and you sit behind the wheel. You don't sit in the back seat, right? You make sure you've got money in your pocket. You anticipate what the result is going, what the outcome is, so that you have the outcome that you want. So there are certain steps. There's an order. There's a fashion to follow that gets us to the end, right? This painting here has got two components. The cowboy and then the setting. The cowboy and the horses, and then we've got the setting. They're the two components, right? Now, if I could take a black and white photograph of that, you'll find that the lightest light will be about a 7, and the darkest dark will be about a 4. So both the setting and the cowboy and the subjects are around about that value, that greyness, right? If the lightest grey is white and the darkest grey is black, right? We don't have any black, we don't have any white. We have a range of values in there, but they're not the full range from white to black, right? So the next step in this is to then pull out the subject and from the setting so that they both ratchet up at the same pace, right? They both, I find something in the setting and make it a bit lighter. I find something in the cowboys and make it a bit lighter. I find something in the setting and make it darker. I find something in the setting and make it, and in the cowboys and make it darker. In other words, I bounce that way and that way, that way and that way. I keep on bouncing up and down till I get to the final dots and dashes, right? There might be 2 dots and dashes or 3 dots and dashes up there for the cowboy and 2 for the setting, and likewise down here. So that takes us to the end of the painting. So there's an order, there's a ratcheted, logical series of steps to get there, to get to the end. People say, when is the painting finished, Bob? Well, the painting is finished when you complete those steps. Right? Now, that's what we're going to do today, so come over here. Now, you've been following me, and you know that there's a logical, rational way of approaching painting if we're going to use paints, right? If you're going to use a pencil, you've only got one tool and one or two shades of grey, or the shades that you want to use. That's from 1 to 10 also. But with colour, the whole process becomes very, very complicated and highly dangerous, highly volatile. It's like dealing with a time bomb in your hand, unless you have got control mechanisms. What are the control mechanisms then, Bob? Well, we start with a limited palette. Right? We don't try and fiddle around with 20 tubes of paint. That's not going to work for us, I'll tell you, and it won't work for you. Because the combinations in all that is mad. If you've got 10 tubes of paint, that's 10, and you're going to mix, you put them all together, that's 1,000 mixes you've got. Well, it's more than that, 10,000 mixes. But you can't control that. You can't control that. So we have three colours we start with, a limited palette, my mother colours I call them, right? Cobalt blue, just come in a bit closer here, Jock. Cobalt blue, light red, yellow ochre, white, that's our series of mother colours, right? And we're going to throw in a rose today. Because, why? Because we're going to use this photo here of a girl walking. She's not on the beach there, but she's going to go on the beach. All right? She's going to go on the beach. So, and I'm going to use this scene here from the beach, which is shot in Australia somewhere. No, it's up in the north coast, near Byron Bay. And I'm going to take this little area here. You've got this on my Facebook page. If you dig through the reference photos we've used, you'll find this photo. So I'm going to take a little area out of here and pop that in behind there, and then start the painting. So let's make a start. All right? Here we go. Put those down there, and I'm going to mix up some paint. I'm going to do it here because it's easy for you to see, and it saves Jock going up and down and you all getting seasick trying to follow me. So because this girl is pink, still going, Jock? Let's come over here, and I want to explain something very, very quickly to you. Here's our painting area, right? That's our painting area there. That's a 16 by 20. Now, when you do, I'm going to do this figure's going to be relatively big, right? So we'll occupy, we're going to put a wave formation in here. There's going to be beach here, sand, little runs of water up there, and then there'll be sand. And the girl is going to be, she's walking this way, so I'm going to put her on that side of the fulcrum. She's going to go on that side of the fulcrum, right? So she's going to occupy an area about there, relatively dominant, right? So because she's fairly dominant, the colours that exist in her, which is a pink lavender, I'm going to have to echo that in the other parts of the painting. Now, if she wasn't dominant, if she wasn't such a large mass and a control post in the painting, I wouldn't worry about that, right? Because it's only an insignificant area being occupied by a foreign colour, right? An orphan colour. But she's not. There's a fairly large mass there, and that needs to find its way in the clouds, in the distant clouds over there, in the sky, down in the water and in the sand. Well, the sand's going to be easy with reflections. So that's going to solve that part down here. But up here, we need to bleed this out. We need to do what's called echo. We need to echo those colours, all right? So there we are. Good catch, Bob. Right, so we're going to do the sky first. So here we go. My pastry brush. Now the girls in the people in my class, in our group, will be following this intently because we're going to do a beach painting. We're going to take what we've done in terms of the I want to get this background in pretty quickly because we're going to go into the figure. We've got a big figure to do here, so there's a lot of work to do today. So make sure you're sitting comfortably and that you're holding hands with your loved one there. And he's got a beer in his hand. Right, put that one over there a bit. And that one's up for auction there, folks. Good painting. I'll show you that in a moment. Put that over there. Now, do a bit of I want to pull this figure out, so I'm going to make it fairly, push the darks down the bottom down here a bit. It goes into a grey down there. You see I'm mixing warm and cool. Remember that in every painting you've got to have these colours working against each other. You've got to have a warm working against a cool all the time. Whichever one is dominant will have the effect of, will feed the eye of the viewer to the temperature of that area. For example, if the warm dominates a cool, if the brown dominates a blue, for example, then it'll have an overall effect of warmth. Vice versa, it'll be cool. But we need them both working against each other to keep the eye popping, to keep it vibrating in our head. Our eye response, the brain does things. Well, normally the brain does things. There's question marks about some parts of the world at the moment about what sort of brain is operating in certain places. Well, it looks like a nice mess there to start with. That's what I want, isn't it? See if we can make something out of that mess now. See if we can make something out of the mess. See if we can make some clouds appear. We're getting a bit of a mess appearing now. That looks all right. That's starting to show up. Put a little bit of the pink in now. Ah, there we are. That's the echo colour, right? So it's not part of the mother colour, but I introduced it because it's going to re-echo the colour in the girl's dress. Let's leave that. We want a bit of sky popping up there, a little bit of a blue sky up there. Tells us that we're in a nice daytime setting. I've got rid of that cloud, but I'm going to bring him back again in a moment. Bear with me, bear with me. We don't want this sky to challenge. We want this sky to just have the effect of being a placid setting sky, because the dominant feature here is not the sky. It's merely a part of what the message is. And the message, of course, is the figure. So let's bring this sky out a bit more. I'm going to put a little bit of the pink in there. See that mix there? Now that's going to echo the colour of the girl's dress. looks pretty nice to me. Let's pop a bit more. If it looked that good, maybe it'd look even better with a little bit more in there. See, it looks a lot down there, but when you put it up here, it doesn't look too much. It's nice and airy and light. There's a little bit of yellow in there, and there's some pink riding in amongst it. Now let's even put a little bit more down there. Now let's just bleed them together. We don't want to lose, keep some edges. Okay, a little bit more. See if we can grab a nice bit of paint and put up in here like that. The clouds sort of drift and they have their own presence. They come and they go, they've got edges and they appear and then they disappear. They're phantoms of the sky is what they really are. Let's have it drifting in here like that. Now that's an interesting shape. Okay, we won't get too... We'll come back to that later on. Let's push it a little bit more though. I want to darken it up a bit more. You could really say that that pink, I'm actually using it as a mother colour there. Here we go. It really has taken over from the light red. That's a nice little bit of an effect there. I like that there. You want things that are a little bit, when it gets a bit too bland, throw a bit more dark in there to sort of stir it up a bit. Okay. Okay, we've got something happening there. We've got enough pink in the sky to make it work, to lock into the figure. Now let's come down and do our beach, our waves at least. I'm going to put in the... down in there somewhere, so I'll just darken that up, push that back up. This is the horizon area. Those of you who are in the painting group, they've been playing with the sky this week. We haven't seen this sort of sky yet, but we might see one like this soon. Depends what part of the world you're in. Now we've got something happening. Okay, now for the water. Get this done pretty quick so we can get into our... Now what are we going to do with the water? Ah, yeah, we're going to do some water, aren't we? Okay, well let's do some water. A little bit of grey in here now. If I'm rushing it, it's because I started late, folks, so bear with me. Now we're going to find a wave there somehow. Let's see if we can find a wave. Put a bit of yellow in here, Chop, I think. over here we're going to have a little bit of water being stirred up over here, so I'll go to some, let's just try and look at what this wave's going to look like. There's a bit crashing down there. There's a bit that's already tumbled there. Some more coming in there, like that. Okay. And behind there, there's some little waves behind. Take that colour up into the sky, a bit of that green in the sky. Echo our colours. There we go. Now let's bring it down and we'll put our sand in. We've got our wet water there. And that'll echo the colour above. A bit of more blue in there. There we go. Same as the sky. See, I keep on working from one to the other. And she's going to be walking along in there. There's going to be a little run of water there. All right, let's put some sand in there now. And we want to get into the figure. See that? Echo those colours, folks. I'll grab a bit of that colour there and pop it up in here. Maybe a bit down there. There we go. So, we've got ourselves a little bit of a beach shot there. And that looks okay, right? Jock will show you in there now. We'll go in and have a good look at some of that. But you'll see I've used only a couple of colours there, and I've got something very, very flat. Where's it sitting on the scale, on our scale? Well, let's have a look at that. I'll take you over to the chalkboard. Follow Robert over here. This paint is going to go up there again. So over here, we have, if you look here at this is a black and white photograph of that painting there when it was half done. And here it is fully done, right? So if we took a black and white photograph of that, it'll come out as a photograph. Go to this again. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If we took a photograph of that painting now we're doing, that will be somewhere in here. All those colours in a black and white on a grey scale will sit somewhere in here. There's nothing very light, there's nothing very, very dark. Right? They're going to sit within this narrow band of values. So when we put a painting in there, a figure, we're going to sit a figure in here and it'll sit in the same area of values. Like happened in this painting here. These two, the setting and the subject, are about the same in terms of tone. Right? So my next job is to put the figure in, or the subject. And it'll sit within that same narrow band. Then we'll have two things together in the painting. The key to this style of painting is to calibrate those two elements in the painting so that they start at the same point on the starting blocks. They're both starting here at not one handicap nor the other, in favour of the other. They're both starting at the same point on the racetrack, right? And then we let the gun go off, bang, and off they go, running down the track, right? The same speed. One might get in front of the other, the subject might have more of a highlight, then we push the setting up, and so on, until they both hit the finishing line, and that's the end of the painting. So there's an analogy you can use. It's like a 100-yard dash, right? But we start them off. We've got two things at the beginning of our racetrack, at the start of our racetrack, a subject and a setting, all right? Athlete number 1, the setting. Athlete number 2, the subject. Bang, off goes the gun, right? The subject jumps out first. In other words, it just copped a small highlight. Another 10 metres down the track, the setting jumps up. It just copped the same highlight and also had a dark put in. It's gone in front of the subject, in other words. Bang, the subject goes another hard dark and another light. So they both walk down, they both move down the track, one in front of the other, and the other one catches up. And so on till they get to the finishing line, right? And so that's what we do. We move up and down, until the subject is the obvious finishing one. It finishes first. And the setting comes second. If it was the other way around, you've got yourself a problem. All right? What is the painting? Decide what the painting is going to be. Is it going to be a landscape or is it going to be a figure in a landscape? If you want it as a figure in a landscape, then you follow my way. If you want a landscape with a figure in it, you go the other way, right? You determine which one you want to finish first. There we go. So, here we're going to have our figure finish first. So now, I'll now work out where this is going to go. Now we only use 3 things in our studio. After 40 years of painting, and all the mistakes and trial and error that I've gone through, I've ended up with this. 2 brushes, right? 2 brushes? What? 2 brushes? You've got to be joking. He uses 2 brushes? That's all he uses, darling. Right? I've only got 2 legs. The more legs I've got, the more confusion is going to be when I go down the racetrack. Don't over-tool yourself. Don't overburden yourself with all these things that apparently work. I mean, honestly, I've seen some demonstrations where the artist comes in with a bottle full of paint brushes, maybe 20 paint brushes, and they use about 8 of them. And I think, what are they doing? What's all that about? Why are they doing that? Can't they simplify it? Can't they find a use, 6 uses for the one brush rather than 6 brushes for each for one particular use? Right? Be inventive, be innovative, be creative in your tools, in your toolbox. My toolbox I can carry in my pocket. And I'll take this one. Now we'll talk about that in a moment. That's the magnifier. And I've said, if you read my Facebook and other things about me, that 50% of my success comes from that. Right? In terms of the tools I use, it's these 2 and that. These 2 are 50% and that's 50%. This is the dominant tool for this style of painting. So if you like the way I paint, what did I use before? Just that brush. Just that brush. What am I going to use now? Just that brush and this. Now, figures are either good or bad or indifferent. You want yours to be good, same as me. If you pursue excellence, then you want good results, not mediocre results. True? Of course it's true. So, let me put this in. Show you how to work that in a moment. So this figure is going to go in here. It looks like I'm going to lose. I don't want to lose that. That's nice in there. That's starting to happen. See, this sand is starting to kick up inside the wave? Just in here, Jock. If you look at this sand in here, the wave, when it kicks up, when it takes its form and steepens, it draws the sand up inside the wave. So this sand has been drawn up. So I put that in to have that effect. I looked at that wave and I thought, oh, the wave's lifting. It'll draw the sand up, and the top of the wave will roll. And this is a roll over here. You can see I just pull the paintbrush down. So whatever the movement is, there's also the movement of the brush. So I've got myself a setting there. I'm going to lose a bit of that, but let's see what I'm going to lose. She's sort of got her head down, and she'll be looking at something. I can't put her up directly in the middle. You see, let me tell you something. I looked at a couple of guys last night painting, and honestly, the amount of rubbish, it's double talk. It's confusion. It's not clarity. They're talking about composition. They've got dividing things into multiple grids and then saying this one is offsetting that one. Look, the simple way of this is put a balance point here. If that's the fulcrum, and we all went to school, we know what a seesaw is, right? If we have a seesaw here, and that's the middle of that canvas, that spatial area, what at the moment is there an imbalance? Is this side heavier than that side? Well, we've got a light, we've got more contrast in the sky on this side, but we've got that balanced off with this over here. But we've got more contrast here, Bob, than over here. True. So this one, at this point of time, is like this. It's slightly tilted down there. Mary is heavier than Johnny, right? Mary is heavier than... We've got a fatty on the seesaw. So we've got to put a fatty on this side of the seesaw. So if I put a girl in here, that's going to push this down even further. So what do? We don't fiddle around and then shift. What we do is we put things in there to counter that balance, right? To counter that balance. We might put some birds over here. We might put 2 birds. We might put 6 birds that are small in the distance. They're little dots that pushes this down again and re-establishes the equilibrium in the painting. That's what we want, equilibrium, as we have in life, as we have in the studio here right now. Right. Where am I going to put this? So I'm going to put her in, I can put her there and put something over there. I like that idea. Maybe put her here. But I really should put her this. She's walking this way. So I'm sorry, folks. We're going to go straight down here. We're going to lose that. What a shame, but that's the way it goes. Now, I'm doing exactly what I said I'd do on the board there. She's going to be walking through there. Let's just see. Right. Okay, that's done. Well, here we go. Here we go, folks. Now, what have we got? We've got what's our local colour in this picture here, John? We've got it's a mauve. Let's see if I can mix up a mauve and just block this in somehow or other. I've got to get a bit more of that mauve. It's a rose, I think it is. I'm using. I don't know what I use actually. I need a bit more white. That's a soft white, which is the best white. Here we go. Now, I'm picking it. See the colour in the photograph? We've got dark and light. So I'm going to pick out a dark. It's easier to light than it is to darken. So I'm going to mix up a bit of a dark. So I'm going to put a little bit of a blue in there and see if I can just hack in the rough shape. So I'm looking at that. I'm going, okay, she's going with that. Down she goes. Where's the bottom of the dress? Where do I want her legs to be? Let's make it down there. Hips out there. That's the waist. Then up it goes. Now I can't really see what's going on in there. Anyhow, her shoulders are up there somewhere. Then she's got a shawl. And there's a dark out there where her arm pops out. It's out about there actually when I look at it. So we've got the waist about there, then we've got this dark in there, then up we go, and our head's up there somewhere. Okay, let's have a look. Now, when I said, I'm looking, I can't really see that part there. Okay, so what do? I'm 148 years old, right? So I now have a pair of glasses. Right? So I'll put the glasses on, and I'm going to look at what I can see there now. Ha! I can see more than I could see before. I can actually see where the shoulders finish, where the head pops down. I can see where her arms are cocked out. She's holding a dress up so she doesn't get it all wet. She's got a foot pointed. I can see all that, so I've got a shape. I can read the shape from here. So let me read the shape from here. So I'm going to now mix up. I'll put that over there. I'm going to now mix up that dark. Right, here we go. So we've got the hips coming down here. The dress ends about there, and then it comes across there like that. Then it goes up there like that. It turns up there, and it pops out there like that. Okay, going along. So we're just having fun now, aren't we, Bob? Yeah, we sure are. I'll just darken that in. Darken it in. Those of you who are joining me for the first time, welcome. And I'll have a look who's with us in a moment. We should have a few from the great land down under. And so up in there, so she's holding the dress up there. That's where the dress is being held there, and that goes across, then down, and it comes down like that. Okay, so far so good, and up it goes. She's got a shawl there, so we've got different colours operating there. That's the top of her slip. And that looks like about the top of the shoulder there. Is it out further? It's out further than here. It's about the same as her hip, so it's going to come out there like that. It pops out down here and stops about there. Okay, let's mark this, colour that in. Colour it all in. It all looks about the same to me. It looks about the same to me. There's her head up there. She's got her head bowed. And it comes in there. Now let's find this other shoulder. Now here's the shawl coming in here. Let's mix up that shawl colour. Now we've got a bit of light. Let's just pop a bit of light yellow in there. Now where is it? She's got the slip. It's just there. And that comes down. And the shawl starts here. And down it comes. I might be too far out there, so I'll just wipe it back. And down it comes here. Across there. And there. And you've got another part of it down. You've got two parts there. You've got one there. And that comes in here like that. Then her arm. So far so good, folks. This is all pretty easy. You say, okay, you're not showing me anything I don't know yet, Bob. Well, that's good. And then it comes out here, there's some nice little strands. I don't know what you call those on the shawl. Little sort of loose pieces that come out and they dance their way across like that. Okay, now let's find, I can see that there's lights on the shawl, on the slip she's got. So I'll mark that in. That's a light pink. There we go. Easy as pie. And that looks about right. Then we've got this part down here where she's holding her dress. I'll get that part again. And then we've got, let's go into the light. Again, more of this pink. Jop's got you right over my shoulder there, so there's no excuse for you not following me. Down we go. Looks like I've got a bit of yellow in that pink, but that doesn't matter, who cares? Over we go again. Down we go. And we go back to where we started. That was a nice little journey, wasn't it? A nice little journey. Let's do the hair. And the darkest dark we have, now we're using our value scale a little bit more. We're looking for a dark. And our darkest dark is not black. We don't use black. Those of you who put the hand up, when I said black, you said, oh, good, 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 good. No, no blacks allowed. Because this is a limited palette. And we use only the colours we've got on our palette. The darkest dark is our cobalt blue and our light red. So that's what makes those two, without any white, make us our darkest dark, right? So here we go. And in goes the darkest dark. It just looks like a blob of black, doesn't it? Well, until I put a little bit more red in there, which I'll do now. See what I'm doing now? I'm taking a little bit of the light red and putting in there. Now all of a sudden I've changed that. That's now got a temperature. It's now got a temperature. And Jop's got you there, got you right on me. Now it goes down and something happens down in there, I'm not quite sure. There's a face in there that finishes about there. Then there's a dark over here. Now, this is where I'm guessing. I'm guessing now, down it goes here somewhere, and then the dark goes into a dark here. Now I'm guessing, okay, and those of you who have been painting for a while understand that I'm guessing, and is this what we want? Do we want to guess our way now? Because we've done something pretty good so far. But we cannot guess. And how do we stop that? So you're here with me at Robert Hagan Studio, and we're going to do a nice painting. And you want to know, you understand everything I've done so far. Right? But the question is, where do we go from here? Because it's looking good, but it's not complete. So, this is what we use. Okay, I've got to get some food for the dogs shortly. I've just been told the dogs are hungry and I've got to get some food. But before the dogs eat, we've got to talk about this. Right. Now, this is a magnifier. Those of you who have been with me for a while understand that we're trying to get this on the market. We have a Kickstarter program going at the moment where you can contribute money or pledge the money, and I pledge you in return some goodies. Apart from this, there are many other things you can get, right? There are a series of levels or steps that are offered. But we've got a target to get this produced. We've got a target amount of money. Then I've found a manufacturer. I've identified the lens I want to use and so on. Now, we want to see, why do we have to have this lens in, Bob? Well, I just told you before that this will stop the guessing and get you a result that hangs on a wall that looks good. If this painting looks good, it's because of this. I reached a point in the painting where I then need not just the glasses, but something stronger. But it can't be too strong. It cannot be too strong, because the one thing that we try to do in this, and I'll show you in a moment, let me run this out here for a moment. When we look through the magnifier, if we have a 10 times magnification, and there's a person's head in there, let's say we've got a photograph here, and there's a person's head here and shoulders, right? I want to know the value of that in relation to the value of that, and the value of that there. So if my magnifies it 10 times, it'll only go over that part. Right? It'll only draw up that amount. And it doesn't show me what the value contrast is, or the difference between the values. And we need to know the difference. That's why this is a 3 times magnification. Anything more than that, and you've got too great a concentration in the area. And you will not be able to read the value of one area in relation to the adjacent area. And you need that, because the whole thing here of moving from 10 to 1 is about an orderly progression of values, right? An orderly progression of values across the whole painting. So you need to view the areas of the painting, not just one spot. You need to view the area that spot sits in, because that spot only has relevance in relation to the other spot, right? So that spot here needs to be looked at in terms of that spot and that spot. So the magnification is 3 times. So the throat, the skirting here, fits over that whole lot. And the 3 times magnification gives me those readings, the difference in values. All right? Now that's one aspect about this. Now there's nothing on the marker. And I'll tell you what, those of you who this is the first time you're joining me, don't doubt what I say, right? I back it with 40 years, and I've been right for 40 years about using something like this. Right? The original one I had was for a Hasselblad camera. It was a special loop. It was $128, and they stopped producing them about 12 years ago, 15 years ago, right? And that was what I had. Okay, now I'm making my own based on what that one was. All right, I've sourced out the glass, the lens, right? It's the best optical lens you can get. It's spherical. It gives you no distortion across the area, and the magnification is perfect and will last forever. Let me tell you something. You've got a toolbox for your painting. You've got brushes. You've got tubes of paint, right? You've got things that wear out that you've got to replace. They're not one-time expenses. The tube of paint might be $6.50. The brush might be $8.20. After about 3 months, the brush goes and you've got to get a new tube of paint. So they're recurring expenses. This one is not. Once you buy this, you've got it forever. Right? It's good for 100 years. If you drop it on the ground, it won't break. Right? It fits all the aspects that I want, and I've fooled around with these for 20 years until I said, right, I'm going to make it myself. This is for the artist. Right? If you're a stamp collector, good, buy it as well. If you're a typographer, buy it. If you're a cartographer, buy it yourself. Right? It'll fit into those. If you're an insect lover, right, it'd be good for that. But the prime point for this is for us, for artists, to read our reference material, and particularly the photograph. Now, so I'm now going to look at this photograph with this, and I'm going to get Jock to show you what I'm looking at. Now, if you can see that, Jock, you should be able to see the shoulder and the strap of the slip. The dark and the light. Not just the dark and the light, but how light it is. Inside that light area, right? Inside that light area, there are shades of light. The thing about a photograph is, like in a contrast photograph, which is what an artist wants, because the shapes are formed by contrast. The problem with most cameras is that the lights bleed quickly. Right? And the darks get darker quickly. If you've got a good lens, it doesn't happen so much. And I use a good lens. That's why my photographs are good. One of the pledges, if you want to go through the Kickstarter project to get this lens that we're using, you'll find I'm giving you reference photographs. These reference photographs are not done with a little point and shoot. These are done with the best lens you can get. And you get all the little nuances in shifts of value. So one of the things you're going to get from me, if you buy this, and I suggest you do if you're serious about painting. If you're not serious, don't buy it. But if you are serious, buy it. It's a one-time expense. Get the photographs. But then you've got a flying start with painting. You don't have to go and buy a $2,000 camera. Right? You can use my photographs. And how good is that? Okay, let me look now at where the darks are. Aha! Now I can see. And I can see not just where the darks are, but how dark they are. Now here's a slip, we've got one down here. I'm going to pick out over here, Jock. I'm going to pick out where these darks are. And I'm looking through the lens. And Jock will show you, as I go from one to the other, how I just start to form this up. I'm seeing exactly where back down again, up we go again. The bottom of the slip goes about there. Now I'm not guessing, and I'm a happy, happy boy. And that goes down. There's a fold down there where it ties together. And then under here it goes back to the dark again. So I've got that part right. Let's look up here. Where does this happen? Okay, back down. Now the slip. Now let's look, she's got a skin colour in here. So I'm going to mix up the skin colour now. Down I go to the... And the skin colour, let's just stay with what we've got. See if we can use those colours without going into anything else for a skin. How about a bit of light red? That'll do it. Alright, in here now. Here we go. That drops on me. There's a face there. I can see that now. Now I can see her head and her face, or part of it. And it's all skin up here, so I'll put it all in. And then I'll darken it in a moment where it's dark. And also lighten it. There's a bit of a, over here, there's some skin over here. Her arm is showing there. Okay, let's darken that now. Let's clean that brush. And I'm going to mix up a dark skin colour. So some light red. Let's do it here, Jock. Right there, sorry, just stay with me. Okay, let's mix up our dark. I'm bouncing around a bit here, but never mind, folks, you'll get it. Wipe it back and forwards. See how I'm using the brush? That side, then that side, then that side, and look at the chisel I've got. Right, so up we come. Now, those of you who haven't done figures before, don't be scared of them. I know you're saying, oh, I can't do what he's doing. Yes, you can. There's no such thing in Robert Hagan's studio of I can't do. We are all can do here. This is a can do. Now, I'm not guessing here. We've got a line down here, Jock. And we've got it's dark in there like that, and it goes dark there. Right. Now, so I could just lighten that up now and see if we can pick out just a little bit of that, this light. The light skin colour, not the last one, but something just to bring it out a bit more. And the nose is just there. Back again. And the arm down here. Right. That'll do us for now, just there. Now let's find out where we go from there. We've got that shawl colour. Now the shawl colour, I can see clearly that colour of the shawl. There it is there, on the darker side. Let's see if that'll work. There we go. There we go, down we go. I'm reading the value of that shawl in relation to, and I'm creeping it down with my finger. I'm creeping that magnifier down the side. And this is the beauty of that. If you've got an iPad or something, is that too heavy? But I can move that photograph up and down with my fingers. It's light. See the finger behind there? I just move that. And so I'm just sitting here resting. I'm a happy little beaver here. I could just stand here all day. I could take that out and have a beer instead, as long as I've got my magnifier there, though, because otherwise I won't be able to find the beer. So I keep on going. Now here it comes down here. She's into this part here now. And that's the shortcut. All right, let's go over here and do it. To this part. Back we go again. This part here where the shawl is in shadow. Better add a little bit more of my gin and tonic to that. And it goes over there, then it comes out here. Back down again. A bit on there, and up we go again. I can see exactly where I've got to go. There's no... I'm not guessing, folks. And I can see there, and there it goes in there like that. Is he guessing? No, he's not. How does he do it? Well, he does it quite simply. He's got the magnifier. What do I call this, folks? Look at my T-shirt. Look at my T-shirt. What's it say? It says Easy Art. And my method of painting is Easy Art Method, right? This is about making a hobby into something which you enjoy. You don't have to fight to find the detail in me. This is an easy instrument, a one-time expense. If you don't have this in your toolbox, you will never be a good artist. I can tell you that. Because it's not just for figures. Well, it is really for figures, right? If you paint landscapes in a broad sense, you don't need this. Of course you don't need that, right? If you've got a photographic memory, of course you don't need that. If you can remember every detail of the seagull that flies in front of you at 60 miles an hour, you can see precisely the wing position. You can see precisely the position of the legs and the colour of the legs and the value of the legs. If you can do all that with your eyes and your brain, you don't need this. But if you can't do that, you do need this. How important is it? Deadly important. Okay, let's go on. Our head might be a bit small. I'm going to make that head a bit bigger now, Chop. I'm just looking at that in relation to the rest of the body. Let me get some... Now, how big is it? I'm looking at it now through the shape of it at the top. It squares off there. How far out does it come there? It comes out to there. There's more red there, so I can see the red in the hair. I can see some light there coming up too. I can see exactly where that light starts and finishes. And there's a nice little bit of hair there. And then her eyes are in there. Nose. See this? See, I'm getting where the nose is, where the cheekbone is. If you come in there, you'll see that. Now I can see where the folds of the... You with me there, Job? Where the folds are in the shawl. Her hand is in here. I'm not guessing now, see? And then the shawl comes down there. Back over here again. Let's darken that a bit more. So this one comes out there. Okay, back we go. You can have a look at that now. Chop will show you what we've done there. Take them right in on that job, that's the way. Now, back down. Okay, we're going to look into the darks inside here now. I want to look at what's going on in there and shape that up. So what we're doing now, we haven't touched, over here, John, for one moment. We haven't touched, we're sitting in this middle value range again. Let me do this again to show you exactly where we're going. This is the easy art, bulletproof, no-brainer, worldwide killer type painting method, right? Robert Hagan's painting method, the easy art painting method. So there's our value range, again, 10 to 0. Darkest, lightest, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? What have we done so far? We've done the setting, right? And now we're doing the figure. And what did I do first? I did the figure within the same value range as the setting, right? If you took a black and white photograph of that, even now, you'll see it's almost the same grade of grey. Now, what I'm doing now, I'm starting to pick. I'm starting to say, okay, what are the elements in the figure? I started off with that there's a head, right? Then there's the shawl. Then there's the slip. Then there's the skin. So that's what I've done so far. And what did I do with the head? I went down to a value 3. I haven't gone up yet. Right? I've just shaped it up, I've pulled it out. I've gone down to value 3, almost to value 2. I started off with 3, then went to 2. With the shawl, I found the shawl, then I went up to there, I lightened it and then darkened it. Right? With the slip, I darkened it and then lightened it. With the skin, I found it first and then I darkened it and then lightened it. So that's what I've done. I haven't touched the background. The setting is still sitting here. Right? But if the figure looks like it's coming out, it's because I'm doing that. Now, those of you who paint a landscape and then try and put a figure in, and you've gone too far with the landscape, you've got a problem. You can analyse it quite clearly this way. Okay. So back here, Jock. Let's try and draw this part out here, the dress as she moves along. So I'm going to go dark first, and then I'll come up and bounce some light in there. So I'm going to mix up that sort of mauve. Here we go. All right, Jock. Now I'm looking through the magnifier. And down we go. That's the shawl up there, but it's all the shawl wraps around. Oh, we got the shawl comes down there. It's hard to see it. If I didn't have the magnifier, I couldn't see it, I'll tell you that. Now, here we are, down there. Top of the dress, the shawl is riding just above her hips. Pull the brush on the other side. And she's got some folds as she grasps, as she pulls her dress up, back again, as she lifts the dress, there's a fold there, which comes into this one, a join. We've got a nice little bit of light just there. Not easy keeping up with me, folks. Jop's doing a great job here. Righto, Jop. Got a darker one now. See that? I've added more blue to that. then up in here. Now, okay. Now let's go to the light side now. Now we'll draw that right out. A little bit of light, a little bit of white in that pink. And let's pull this out now. We don't want to go directly to it because I can see as much as a photograph blurs out. When you've got a contrast photograph like this, the light areas tend to go just light, tend to go white. No. Not with my photographs they don't. Not with mine they don't. And not with this, you're looking at it. I can see the shift. I can see the shift in tone. Small, but it's there. Small, but there. With the naked eye, you cannot see it. Enlarge the photograph, doesn't help. Right? I can see it. I can see it quite clearly. See, those of you who don't have something like this magnifier, you're fighting all the time to do this. You'll be fighting all the time because you're guessing. This is a no guessing area. Most of my life is based on guessing, but since I found the magnifier, there's no guessing left. It's just plain sailing. And you think, oh, it's expensive. No, it's not. It's a one-time off expense. And there's some great things going with this magnifier. And if you like the way I paint, then you're not just going to get the magnifier, but if you're clever, if you're smart, you'll get a package deal where you're getting the photographs as well. And this will be one of them. This will be one. So you've got not just the photograph, not just got the magnifier, but you've got this lesson to come back to and look at. Now let's put the legs in. See, we mix up a skin colour chop with our limited palette. Our limited palette, can he do a skin colour with limited? Well, of course he can. Can we mix up a general colour? Where is it? I'm looking at it where it starts. There's the leg there, behind there. And then this leg pops down there. And she's pointing her toe. And that back one comes out there like that. And there we are. So let's lighten that up now while we're going. And just add a little bit of pink to it and see if we can colour that leg in a little bit. Okay. Now we will put a bit of a shadow there. I might have her legs a bit big. If I have, it doesn't matter. Just short, we'll just clip it down a bit. Let's put a bit of a shadow in there and just lock her down. so on. So it's going to go over into the wave. So we're only working on the figure at the moment. We've got to bring the wave, we've got to bring that setting into play. But anyhow, there we are so far. Now, let's keep on going. Let's check that. That's about it, like that. Okay. Now, we'll keep on going. I'm going to go back to the hair now and darken it even more, right? In other words, I'm coming back here. I go over here, Job. I'm now going to the head. I'm going to find some light on the head and some more dark. So I'm still working the figure. I haven't touched the setting yet. I'm still working the elements of the figure. Darkening, progressively integrating, progressively moving along on the value scale. This is how you paint. There's an order, there's a logical, rational order based on a limited palette and simple tools. I might have her, I think I've got this one too low down. To do a bit of surgery here, folks. I'm working at an angle, that's the problem. I'm working at an angle. Let me just catch up here. Let me just catch up. I've just got to do a few quick adjustments here, folks, because I normally work right in front of the painting, which is what I'm doing now. And if you don't work right in front of it, you can make those sort of little mistakes. But not huge, not a huge problem. Now we've got that strap there. Now we're back in shape again. Now let me put this one in here. Quickly get this right. Now we're right. Okay, now we're back on. Now let me catch up again now. Right, now here we go again. Okay, so I just have to move things around a bit then. Now we'll keep on going. Back to the darks. Okay, now I want this dark in here. That shawl comes down there, and then there, 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 across there, okay. Right, now we're better. Now we're looking good. Now we're looking good. Okay, back to the head. Darkest dark. See how it's going even darker? Because I'm going back over the same paint. and I'm mixing it's not thick paint yet. More of the red in that. Here we go. I had a little bit of a mistake there, didn't I? But we got it back now. We're looking pretty good now. Okay. Okay, so I had to harden up the darks in order to get the shape back. Now, let's go again. A bit more paint on here. Cobalt blue. I need a bit more cobalt blue. Now I'm going to do something in a moment that I want you to watch. See, I'm just going darker again. Now, let me go light again. Let's go to that shawl again. Back to the shawl, the one on her, this one here. And let me have a good look at it. Right, see if the colour's right, the value's right. Yep, there we go. Okay, off we go. Back over. Back here again, Job, sorry. Back again. It's a lovely movement, really. I mean, she's bracing herself against the wind, the breeze. And there's just a bit of the shawl showing there. Back down again. I'm going to kick it up a bit more now. See how I just banged it up a bit more? Let's go again. Watch what I do. Nice and thin. That just sits on top of that. That just sits on top of it. Okay, let's see if we can put a little bit on her hair now. Find a little, I can just see from here that some of that hair is just showing a little bit of light. So where is it? It's down there. And some here. Okay. Now let's go over the other arm, and I'm going to take this colour here and bleed it into here. Right? The shadow colour. So we tie it together now. What is that colour? Well, we know what that colour is because we're working off a very simple palette. And down we go. Back over a little bit. And again. You see how it's losing itself in the against the sky, and that's what we want. We want suggestion of it. We don't want to have it sort of screaming at us. We want suggestion of what the colour is. And that's also in the shawl, which is there. Let's find that shawl colour. There it is. Add a bit of that to it. Now there we go. If you can see that colour there, I can see it through the magnifier very clearly. The naked eye you won't, guaranteed. You're going to be fighting like crazy to see it. And here it is in here. Let me find it again. It's the yellow with a bit of the grey. There. 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 And it's on the other side of that knot there. And there it is there. So that's the colour of the shawl. Let me do it some more now. Let's try and find some more detail on that shawl. Now it comes around from behind there. And her arm's in there. We've got to find that arm again. Back up. See how easy I'm finding these little colours, little values. Well, those shadows are now working perfectly. I've added the grey. You see, I'm working on a limited palette. When you've got a limited palette, you can find those greys. What it is a local colour plus the grey that comes from these two. You mix these two and that gives you your grey. Add that to the local colour and that becomes your shadow colour. Right? It goes on the cool side of the shadow colour. If you've got a big painting, you've got warm and cool to go in there. But let me add a little bit more to that. Let me show you this part over here and how that we can do that again. Right. So we mix these two to make up a grey. I'll get some more thinner down here, John. Okay. There's our grey. Now add a little bit of the local colour, which is that. A little bit of the shawl, which is a yellow. And there's our colour. Over we go. Now we want to show more light there, so I'm going to kick it up with a bit more white. Where it folds a little bit. Now for the shawl here. show the map, John. Show them in here. What I've done just in there. Map show. Okay, how long have we got? Okay, looks like we're going to be finishing soon. Okay, folks, I think we're finishing up. 11:42. Yeah, we're just about done. So I'll finish this and I'll post it, right? But I want you to have a good look at the Kickstarter. Have a look at go back to this, right? As I said, all you need with me is that. There's your toolbox. That's it. That's all you need to take from country to country, because any country you go to, you can buy your paints, but you can't buy these, all right? So you get this. That's in your toolbox, and get that from me. If you want to paint like this, you can. I'll show you how to paint. All you need to do is get the toolbox geared up, right? And so there you are. And apart from that, I can do some tap dancing. I know how to do the Charleston. I can't sing very well, but heaven, I'm in heaven, and I hope you have a great weekend, as I'm going to have. I'm going to eat some prawns, some crab, and have a cold beer. And I wish you well, and I hope you have a great weekend wherever you may be, and enjoy yourself, and happy painting, folks. Bye for now.